it's Presley at ActOutGames.com here, and today we know that there's a lot of viewers that haven't been to a con or don't go to cons, and we are going to talk a little bit about what it's like to go to a con in general, and specifically about Denver Comic Con.
Okay, so why don't you tell us what the big chunks of a con are? Like, all the cons kind of have the same structure, more or less.
Yeah, same structure, more or less. Well, the free things that you do. The things that you do at a con is you meet cool cosplayers, you go to the Expo Hall, and lots of panels. And you also get to meet some celebrities. They have signings and photo ops. Like at Comic Con, we got to meet Karen Gillan. And we got a photo that was signed by her. So that's an example of another cool things you can do with celebs at the cons. You can, if you're me, then you can interview them.
Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about some of the media stuff that you did, the press stuff. But most of the stuff we're going to talk about is things everybody can do and everybody does when they go to the con, and things that we did at Denver Comic Con that had nothing to do with us being in the media. Right? So let's start Expo Hall.
I actually think we might be able to start at the beginning of Comic Con and then kind of progress through what we did.
Well, we kind of bounced around every day.
Well, yeah, but the first thing is the really long lines at Comic Con.
Well, so lines, Get
a speed pass.
If you can get a speed pass, get it. If the con that you're going to has the ability to get something to skip the lines, then I highly recommend that you get it. If not,
Comic Con is the only one with a lot of really long lines. But well, there's lines in other ones.
Yeah, they all have lines.
They're not as long as Comic Con.
Well, so Comic Con broke 100,000 people this year, which is enormous. And so there's a lot of people there. Although, like I commend Denver Comic Con specifically on like learning from year to year and getting better from year to year, because the first year it was chaos. Like, they had no idea so many people were going to come down, and we were in a line that looped around the convention center a couple of times. First year, and like people didn't even get in until like noon. We were waiting in the line.
I thought there was a year before that, but I might be thinking of like NDK or something. Because there's a year before that where there weren't as many people in the second year, so it's like.
Yeah, no, I think it was big. And then, like, they've gotten a little bit better every year at, like, I remember one year you could go to a store in town and pick up your badge. At the store, so you had your badge and you didn't have to wait in a line to pick up your badge and then wait in a line to get in.
Skiing tickets one time.
Yeah, that's the same way we picked up our ski passes, And so that was better. And then this year they even mailed out badges. So you got your badge in the mail. So everyone in the line already had a badge. And so when the doors opened, they just flew people through, and it only took like half an hour or so to get everybody in. It was really great.
Like, the first year, it took about like 5 hours for everyone to get in. Because there are people waiting in line to get their badges. There are people waiting in line to get in. There are like several different lines, and the lines for the first year would overlap.
Yeah, no, the lines went all the way around the convention center and overlapped itself. We
were standing next to someone, we were actually sitting normally, next to someone who was in another line.
Well, they were at the end of our line.
Yeah, they were at the end.
They weren't even in another line. They went all the way around, and the people beside us were sort of the end of the line that went all the way around. Yeah. So, but it's not that way anymore at Denver Comic Con. They fixed
much better.
But be prepared to stand in lines no matter what con you go to.
No matter what no matter what can you go to.
So, can we talk about the Expo Hall now?
Yes.
Okay.
So the Expo Hall is a place where we actually spent the majority of our time.
Yeah, we like the Expo Hall.
Yes. The Expo Hall is always cool. It has like they normally have an artist alley and a expo hall. Yeah,
like a vendors area.
A vendors area, and then the artist alley, which is where a lot the comic books are here at Denver Comic Con. There's a lot of comic books there's a lot of comic books like in the artist alley place.
Yeah.
That's where the writers of the comic book. That's where Liz was. She was over in like an artist alley.
Liz was in the merch place.
Oh, she was.
Yeah. So Boom Studios was actually they were in part of the vendors area, and the artist alley was back there. So really, usually they're broken up. So you have like a vendors area that are kind of companies that are selling their merchandise. Like, so we got these little My Little Pony blind boxes, and so that's like commercial stuff that they sell. I bought these really awesome little figures. This is from Bleach, and this is from Death Note, Ryuk from Death Note.
And Nell from Bleach, who I do a cosplay
And Nell from Bleach, who Presley cosplays. And so those kinds of things that are kind of commercial, you can get in the vendors area.
I actually started the Nell cosplay on the first Denver Comic Con that I went to. So
maybe it was the first time.
That was the first time we went to Denver Comic Con. I cosplayed Nell for the first time.
Yep. So that's one of the reasons we got this. Number it's we love her and she's cute, but also because Presley cosplays it. We also got this little dragon that's sitting on Presley's shoulder. He came from the vendors area because it's a vendor that comes out and sells those kinds of things. So the vendors area sells all kinds of really amazing things, and we ended up getting so some of the comic books we got. So Princeless
We always love Princess.
Which we always love, and we discovered at Comic-Con years ago. So you find a lot of new comics to follow. So those kinds of things come from that area. And then
we have Mouse Guard.
Yeah, Mouse Guard I think was actually in the Artist Alley.
Oh, that's cool.
Tomboy, which is Liz's book, who we did an interview with, we'll be posting the next day or so.
We got signed.
Got signed by Liz, so you can meet the artist.
There, but were there Tomboys at the?
I don't remember. We bought this before and we got this signed, so you can meet the artist and get autographs, which is really cool.
Like we did with Mouse Guard too. We got the.
Like we did with Mouse Guard. We also, you can discover lots of new comics. So Lumberjanes is a new one that we picked up. It's okay. It's a new one that we just picked up this year, and so you're always sort of finding new things, talking to people about what you like, and they make recommendations about what you should check out. Presley's already read the trade of Lumberjanes.
I read it in about 10 minutes.
We added it to our pull list because she really liked it, so we were sort of discovering new things to watch. And then when you move back, you go into the artist area, which is there's local and traveling artists that are sort of selling their stuff.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So we have. So over here is some of our stuff. We got
these really cool little cat prints. So Cat Bane and Cat Ninth Doctor.
Yes, and they also had a Cat Han Solo that looked almost exactly like Domino.
I agree. Yeah, and then so Ginny Parks was the person who did the cats, which are just, I love the Cat Bane. I think it's one of the greatest things I've seen. So I really love that.
Yes.
You can meet new artists, and actually in the I think he was in the vendor area.
Was he in there?
Yeah, but you can get commissions done. So this is Presley as a zombie. And we met Stan Yan years ago, probably at NondisCon.
Wait, the first one we got was the one without the button eyes.
Yeah, and I think it was NondisCon. And so
it was at NondisCon.
Every year we go to a con, and Stan Yan is at the cons.
That one was my first one.
This was the first one.
First one I ever got.
And so I have a collection of every year Presley as a zombie. I'll put those together in a nice thing here so you can see how she changed every year. And so
basically my face, like it's basically we said this several times during the vlog. It's our family. It's like the family portrait. Like normally people have pictures of their kids, like normal pictures taken at parks, at other places, at and that they hang.
Right.
We have zombies.
Yeah, we have Presley as a zombie hanging at my cube at work all the time, or my office at work. So like that, you meet lots of artists. We also, I think that's where Mr. Peterson was, and I think he was kind of right on the edge between the vendor area and the artist area, but I think he was in the artist area. And again, met him, talked to him.
He had plushies.
They recommended this book for Presley.
They're starting out.
And he did a little mouse doodle in it and signed it for Presley. So you get to meet the authors, which is one of the reasons we love being in there.
Yeah. We get to meet the authors. We get to find cool stuff and meet the authors. Like this is normally what we do at cons. Is we would find a thing that looks cool. Normally we don't stay in hotels around the con, so we would go home, and then I would read it or check out whatever it was, and then we would go back. I would now love this cool thing and be able to talk to the author about it.
So I think that's what Lumberjanes is sort of about now. Yeah. We found the Lumberjane stuff. So then there's also another big area you spend a lot of time are panels, and so there were hundreds of panels at Denver Comic Con this year. You could pick, they covered all kinds of topics. We went to the one for Nerd Fighters, which is really cool because we love John and Hank Green.
Yes.
We also went to Bonnie Burton's panel, which is about women in the geek industry. Again, we met Bonnie. Bonnie wrote this Star Wars craft book, and we got that autograph.
Of course, she uses googly eyes on a lot of things.
Googly eyes, and it's really cool because it's a pair of scissors that are lightsabers. I didn't even notice that
where?
when we first got
I didn't see that.
Got the book.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
No, it's a really awesome little craft book, and Bonnie was super awesome. And she was in the Expo Hall. We did interview Bonnie, or Presley interviewed Bonnie, and there's some footage of that.
I did.
But she was actually just in the Expo Hall and wandering around, and so meeting her and getting an autograph from her and talking to her is something anybody could have done.
Yes.
Which was really cool. And so those two panels are really the only two we hit this year. So we're kind of hit or miss on panels.
Yeah.
It's not, Presley's still a little young to sort of stay focused through the panels. But that we're growing, and like because of media, that's one of the things that we missed a little bit.
Yeah, because since we're starting to get media passes, thanks to Denver Comic Con for actually letting us get our media passes. We have to do interviews, so we missed a lot of panels that we could have gone to, but it's totally worth it because we got to interview a lot of really cool people.
That's right. And then the last thing we were going to talk about was celebs. So Presley showed a little bit. We did meet Karen.
Yes.
And this signed picture of Presley with Karen had nothing to do with the media stuff. So we went through her line to get the picture done, and it's really cool because they take your picture and then you just, as you walk out, it prints out and you pick it up and you have it right then.
Yeah.
And then we went to one of her signings later and got her to autograph it.
You can get cases.
Yeah, and you get these little protective cases that keep it nice and safe. And then I actually even got one of me because this guy, most people will know him as the head of the FBI and X-Files, which is sort of coming back and stuff, and so that's why I was at the con. But he was a security guard in this 80s movie called 3 O'Clock High that me and my best friend loved, and I watched like almost every day. And so he was the Duker, and so I got to meet him, and I was really just thrilled that I got to meet him.
You're like bragging to your friends about it.
I know. I sent my buddy Forrest an email already with a picture, and he responded, and he's all jelly.
Yes.
Right. Because it was pretty cool. And when I walked up, I said, "Hey, you're the Duker," talking about the movie that he was in, and he's like, "I think you're the first person that's ever said anything to me about that," which was pretty funny. And I'm like, "I'm not surprised, but it's really awesome. I love that movie."
Yes.
Yeah. So that's kind of the cosplayers.
Yes. Cosplay.
Sorry, we forgot one of the big categories. You want to talk about the cosplays a little bit?
Yes. So there's lots of really cool cosplays, and especially if you cosplay, it's one of the best things. It's really awesome. It's still awesome if you don't cosplay because you get to meet lots of really cool people and really cool cosplays. But if you cosplay, especially if you cosplay from a bunch of different things, like I cosplay from Bleach and Borderlands and a whole bunch of different animes and TV shows and stuff like that, if you run into someone who's cosplaying the same series as you are, it's always really awesome. We ran into some really, really cool Borderlands groups.
There's some good Borderlands guys, yeah.
And
some Doctor Who stuff when you were cosplaying as the Empty Child. We saw some Doctor Who.
We got lots of Doctor Who.
It's cool just when somebody recognizes what you're cosplaying.
Yes.
That's a cool moment, but it's even better when you run into people that are cosplaying from the same series as you, and you can take kind of a group photo.
Yeah.
And we've made a lot of really good con friends.
There's there's even in lots of cons that we go to, there's a photo shoot. So everyone will put on their cosplays of this one thing, at least try to.
There'll be like a big Doctor Who shoot, so all the Doctor Who cosplayers get together and do pictures.
The Doctor Who shoots are probably some of the biggest. Doctor Who and My Little Pony are always really big when there's a Doctor Who and My Little Pony.
The Bleach shoot at the anime cons was always a lot of fun. It's one of my favorites.
So the photo shoots are always fun. You get to meet, especially if there's one of, you have a character from that thing.
Yeah.
You get to be with a bunch of cosplayers from the same series as you are. It's always amazing.
Yeah, I'll put up a picture of like last year's Doctor Who shoot because we didn't make the Doctor Who shoot this year, but I'll show you Denver Comic-Con Doctor Who shoot here with Presley and a bunch of Doctor Who people, which was really cool. And like I said, you meet a lot of people and you make a lot of friends that are sort of your cosplay friends and your con friends.
a bunch of cosplay friends that we go to at cons.
You only see them at the cons, but you become pretty good friends for only seeing them a couple of times a year. And that's always a really cool thing about the cons is you get to see people you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
So like we highly recommend it. Like we love, obviously we go to a lot of cons and we love them.
Yes.
And I think it's definitely worth your time. What do you think? You think people should go to a con?
Yes, of course they should. Cons are amazing. Try out a con. It's pretty likely that you'll really, really like it.
And if you can make it, come to Denver Comic-Con next year. Like, they do a really good job. It's a great con to come to.
They're probably going to improve even more next year.
I'm sure they will. And Denver's an awesome city.
I don't know how they can improve, but they're going to somehow.
When we travel to a con, we like to go spend a couple extra days and do some touristy stuff in that city. So come to Denver, hang out, go to Denver Comic-Con, hang out with Presley.
Yay!
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you there next year. Cool? All right, you want to sign us off?
So yeah, thank you for watching, and I smile. Bye!
Bye, guys.